What's up guys, this is Aarav from Prolo, and today I'm going to be doing a roleplay in the Entrepreneurship Series event before ICDC, so you have a better understanding of how to deliver an ICDC level roleplay, how to stand out from your competitors, and how to get that DECA class. So let's get into it. Okay, so to generate a roleplay, I want to go to Prolo.ai to the roleplay generation feature right here. So I'll put in entrepreneurship. Let's do strategic management. And then Entrepreneurship Series. And then I just generate the roleplay and give it a couple of seconds to load. Okay, so as you can see, my roleplay is officially generated. Here's the prompt, so take a couple of seconds to read through that. But as you can see, it's much more in-depth than a roleplay that Prolo or you'd find for the SCDC competitions and your regional competitions as well, because now it's ICDC and it's much more important to have actual content knowledge, be able to separate yourselves, and make sure your roleplays are top-notch. As you can see here are the performance indicators, and they're much more different than the classic ones you get for the earlier competitions, and more in-depth questions as well. A new feature that we added for ICDC is the Prolo live camera feed, so that you can record, and Prolo will record yourself, like the visuals of what you're doing, to see your hand gestures, your eye contact, and give you a grade based on that, so you have a more comprehensive and more like translatable grade for ICDC as well. So I'll get started in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, John. It's Aarav, your co-founder here from Innovate Tech. As you know, I've been working super hard on marketing strategy for these past 3-4 months, and I just wanted to call you in today for a meeting, quick 10 minutes to discuss what I've been working on and some strategy that we can do with increasing competition. So as you know, Innovate Tech, so we've been a long recognized company in our niche for our cutting edge software solutions tailored for SMEs, so these small managed enterprises. And despite our recent success, I've noticed that our growth has recently plateaued like a lot of other companies since we've struggled to scale, even though the software market is expected to grow and increase by 10% annual over the next 5 years. So basically, the challenge I've been overcoming is just working with this increased competition and this shifting customer demand, particularly for customized and subscription-based solutions to generate a higher monthly and annual recurring revenue. So, together, I think it's really important to create a comprehensive strategy in this call that will outline 4 main things. One being launching a subscription-based product line to drive recurring revenue. 2, expanding into high growth verticals such as healthcare and logistics. 3, forming strategic partnerships with leading cloud and AI providers. And then 4, making sure we have a rigorous tracking system to track key performance metrics to ensure the utmost accountability. So to walk you through my thought process today, I created a 5-step agenda where I'll discuss how we can develop an actionable plan, how we can conduct a competitive analysis, how we can conduct an organizational SWOT analysis, and how we can adapt to changes in a business environment. And lastly, how we can identify and benchmark key performance indicators to keep improving and iterating. So let's dive straight into it. The first thing that I want to do is address how we can develop an actionable plan. As you know, from this past year that we've been co-founders, an actionable plan makes sure that we outline our specific tasks, deadlines, and responsibilities. I feel like in the past couple of months, our employees have not been working to the best of their extent because they don't have an actionable plan to work on. Hence, we've been procrastinating a lot of work. So, for example, right now, our plan includes launching a subscription-based product that targets the healthcare vertical area, which entails formulating a dedicated team, allocating a certain amount of funding. My idea is $200K in development budget, and then also completing regulatory compliances within the allotted time, and then making sure that we can launch by a specific quarter. So by breaking down our vision based on these 4 main components into actionable steps, we can make sure that every single initiative that we take is structured, measurable, and aligned with our company's goals to increase our recurring monthly and annual revenue. So basically, to illustrate this, I created a Gantt chart basically based on our 4 quarters for this year, as you can see. So basically, this just outlines what we need to do in each 3-month quarters. So the first thing we have to do in quarter 1, so January, February, March, we need to make sure that we finalize our subscription pricing and form the healthcare module team, which I already talked to Jim about a couple of days ago, and he's already brainstorming and writing down on a Google Sheet potential names and recruiting as well. In Q2, it's really important we complete our product beta testing and then launch targeted marketing campaigns to test demand. The third thing that we want to do in Q3 is make sure we launch our pilot program, which I was discussing earlier, with our selected healthcare organizations. And then after, we'll evaluate the pilot performance in Q4 and then expand into additional verticals and niches if our KPIs are met. So I'll make sure to send this to you in an email and make sure that we can send it to the rest of our team, but this is definitely something we need to look at. The second thing I want to do is conduct a competitive analysis. As you know, competitive analysis have helped us benchmark our goals and how our customers are doing against different direct and indirect rivals, and just making sure that we have our product features and pricing, verticals, and everything to make sure that we are beating our competitors. So essentially, I've created a competitor matrix here, as you can see, analyzing our competitors and our niche based on features, pricing, their targeting verticals, and then the market share that they have. So I've identified 3 main ones that are growing or taking over a specific market that we want to target, the healthcare vertical, and those are Tech Giant, as well as Next Wave, and then as well as Cloud Edge. Essentially, I'll just walk you through a few of the things that they're doing briefly. So Tech Giant, they're really killing the market. They have 40% of their segment in their focus on SMEs, and they're one of our biggest competitors. Cloud Edge is very high on the pricing, and they're doing really well in high security sectors. So they have a market share about 30% among premium clients. And NextWave has competitive pricing of $700 per user per month. And basically, they're rapidly growing with a huge footprint, and it's becoming a problem for us. So, this analysis really shows that we have to make sure our strategy is more flexible and unique, which is why I think we should position our offering to about $850 per user per month, so we can provide a robust functionality and a rapid deployment, so we can capture the niche that leverages our strengths and then addresses our competitors' weaknesses as well. Do you have any questions on that so far? Okay, sounds good. I'll make sure to send that to you, so no worries, so you'll have a chance to look over everything. I know I skimmed through that a little bit, but make sure to check your email after this. The next thing I want to do is conduct an organizational SWOT analysis, so we can discuss how we can play to our strengths, not our weaknesses, and take advantage of our opportunities and patch those threats. So, like I said, our strengths in the our SWOT analysis includes our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, as well as threats. So our strengths basically just include a highly skilled research and development team, as well as a flexible and scalable cloud platform. Our weaknesses, however, involve limited marketing resources and then slower feature rollouts, as you can see over here. I think the biggest thing that we need to take advantage of, though, is our opportunities. Our opportunities lie in the projected 10% annual market growth, specifically for software and SMEs, and the rising demand for AI-driven specific solutions in different niches. And that's something we should definitely take advantage of. I think additional threats are super important to consider as well. For example, intensifying competition, which I've addressed in our last topic. And basically, this kind of analysis will guide our strategic focus, and definitely something to think about implementing AI into our solutions and automated feedback as well, which I've talked about with our team before. The next thing I want to talk about is how we can adapt to changes in the business environment. So, as you know, it's extremely important to make sure that we're adapting to everything that happens in our environment currently, especially with our competitors really, really rapidly growing. So I think adapting means just being ready to proactively respond to these dynamics and making sure that there's nothing that goes wrong. So, like I said, AI integrations in our environment, subscription-based revenue models, and then also strict data privacy laws like the GDPR. It's reshaping our customers' expectations and operational norms. So essentially, to patch this, I've created a strategy, the Innovate 2.0. We are going to integrate AI-driven features to reduce manual processes by up to 40%. We'll offer pre-built compliance modules to address evolving regulations. We'll transition to a subscription model as well to ensure a steady but also recurring revenue. And then making sure that these steps are all in place with our team, we'll make sure that we're competitive and being ready to adapt to what is happening in our market currently. it's super important that we play to this because that is exactly what our opportunity is. As you can see, this trend line chart outlines it very, very well. Basically, you can see that the trend line indicates a forecasted 10% growth in the software market over the next 5 years, particularly due to AI adoption in SMEs, and that causes a 12% rise annually. It's a clear upward trend that validates our investment, that we should put investments in AI and then compliance policies as well, which is why we need to stay committed to these two and more things. You have any questions on that so far? Okay, great. The last thing I want to talk about is how we can identify and benchmark key performance indicators to make sure that we can iterate and scale properly. Because without these quantifiable metrics, it's really hard to track our progress and see how we're doing at specific goals. So for Innovate 2.0, our new strategy, I've created a KPI dashboard, as you can see over here. And in this, all of our KPIs and statistics are transferred into bar charts, Gantt charts, as well as also trend charts as well. I think the biggest things we have to focus on are, one, our monthly recurring revenue, as we're targeting an increase from around 400K to 480 or even 500K by Q4. Also our customer acquisition cost for a 10% reduction, and then deployment time and client retention rate as well. By making sure that we benchmark these KPIs, we can also just allow ourselves to make data-driven adjustments. For example, right? If our CAC, so our customer acquisition cost stays high, we'll redefine our marketing channels to ensure a cost-effective customer acquisition that could possibly be powered by AI. So overall, I've talked about how we can develop an Innovate 2.0 strategy to maximize our growth in a competitive market. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns for me? Okay, so I just uploaded my video to Google Drive now. And once I'm here, I make sure to set the link as anyone with the link can view. And then I go back to Prolo, and I paste the link in to score the video, and then it's going to take about 30 seconds to a minute to grade it, and I'll be back with the results. So it gave me a 92 overall, and here you can see my feedback. So I delivered a comprehensive and well-structured strategic management plan. I think that by far was my biggest strength. I was very concrete and specific with what I gave and made sure to align it back to my goal, which was Innovate 2.0, and I was super specific with it. At ICDC, you need to have metrics, you need to have numbers, and you need it to make sense for the judge, because the judge is a business professional likely, and it's a step up from regionals, a step up from states by a lot. So make sure that you have this great content, and that's one of the ways to stand out as well. Another thing that made me stand out, I thought, was my KPI dashboard and all these different graphs and charts that I used to help the judge understand my content in different and digestible ways as well. So definitely those are two main things you need to do. A lot of people try to go into ICDC and try to be super creative and make some super good sounding or unique kind of strategy that really doesn't make sense, and the judges can see through that. So make sure you're being authentic and you know your content as well. So it says, here's a summary, quick thing that I did, detailed breakdown. Okay, so it goes through my 21st century skills, which is great. Your presentation was well organized and clear. So the new thing we added is this performance indicator by performance indicator breakdown, which is really good for you to understand what you're doing wrong. For example, it talks about my Gantt chart here. I just saw it right here. So really great. Specific 200K budget. It is kind of calling back what I did, and that's really great. Now look at my suggestions. I'm going to incorporate more interactive discussions with my partner. I agree with that as well. It keeps the judge engaged. Something else I could have done was expand on risks management and contingency planning, because I was only talking about what we need to do, but what are the negatives? I didn't talk about that as well. And I also need to include real-time monitoring or feedback mechanisms for my KPIs to demonstrate adaptability and execution. And I was running out of time, so I just had to state it, but I definitely think that is something I should have accounted for. Overall, great feedback from Prolo, and we have a lot of updates for you guys. So get using it, Prolo.ai right now. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments, and we'll keep making more videos.